Okay, let's try and use AI to make some actual money. Okay, doing some stuff that once upon a time, not very long ago, I was a hoe. Just kidding. Um, Once upon a time, not that long ago, it would have been quite difficult to do, and now it's not. So it's taken me a while to get my head around how I'm going to relaunch my business. So I have a company called America First Limited, and I used to have a web company and a directory company and stuff like that a long time ago. Not going to get into talking about all that anymore, but it's taken me a while to sort of get my head back together and figure out, um, get out of this kind of dooms thing with AI and figure out how I'm going to use AI in a good way. Not just create a bunch of sex bots and bots on social media and trick people into clicking this and buying this and directing traffic to this website. That's what people are doing. They're making a lot of money doing it. I think it's rather unfortunate that that's how the internet is working, but that is how the internet is working. So it's taken me a while to figure out how can I actually use it to for something good in the meantime while we wait for the world to end. And I think I have figured it out. So I made a video, um, and I realised that
Well, look, our
it's a consultation, right? Um, and this one here, right? So
this manually in the old.
really, it's a consultation, but it was kind of a pointless consultation. Well, I was just being helpful to someone who probably doesn't want the help, to be honest with you. But I realised about an hour after making the video, well, I can do what I'm about to show you, right? To generate leads and have fun and build a YouTube channel in the meantime. And the first few videos are going to be a bit rough, like this one you're watching at the moment. It's going to be a bit probably long-winded because I'm just setting this process up. But I think it's worthwhile watching if you're out there and you're a web developer or a sales consultant and you're trying to figure out how to get your life back together, or you don't even have to be a web developer or a sales consultant to do what I'm about to show you. So I think this is a rather unique way to actually do it. So I'm just going to do it. I'm not going to divulge the whole plan right now. We're going to do that through this video. All right. So by the end of this video, you'll see what the plan is, the plan of attack to generate leads, to do a consultation for a business, whether they want it or not, build the YouTube channel, and basically um, it's it's a really good way actually to show businesses the power of AI, and really what it's going to do is it's going to shock people to an extent when they receive an email with this video link showing someone rebuilding their website. That's basically what I'm going to do. Okay, so we're going to find crappy websites for businesses in New Zealand. There's many of them. And instead of having some other company ring them and sell them some high-priced, overpriced product, I'm going to show them in this video how easy it is to actually do. I'm going to do it for them for the content for my video, and then I'm going to email them the video and say you can buy this website for 500 bucks. And these websites will be worth between $5,000 and $20,000. Okay, now I'm not kidding. If you ring a web company in New Zealand at the moment and you try to get one of these websites built, they're not interested in talking to you unless you have at least sort of most of them $20,000. It's $20,000 just for the design, right? And you might think, yeah, but design is really hard and stuff. Well, actually, most websites come from a template, right? So the whole thing's a scam. So that's why I kind of pulled out of the industry while working for other companies, because I recognise they're just a bunch of sharks running around selling templates for $20,000. So and then of course you got to put all your content and stuff in it, and potentially build a CRM into the back end of it, and then they start looking at charging you $100,000 over a 2-year plan and stuff, right? It's just such a scam. So instead, what I'm gonna do, so normally what I do is I ring businesses. Okay, so normally what I do is I actually go on Yellow. The reason I go on Yellow, I can't stand them. They're one of the biggest rip-offs in this country. But the reason I go on here is because if you see someone advertising on Yellow, you know that their education level about internet products is pretty bad. Right? Yellow doesn't give them a proper consultation. They overcharge. I mean, it's just ridiculous what Yellow do. So if I see someone advertising on Yellow, I know that they need help, basically, right? So see, these are paid advertisers, right? So, oh, actually, maybe they've just changed their CSS by the looks of it. But my point is, this is all New Zealand businesses. Um, there's a few tricks I know that I'm not going to talk about in this video, just because that's not what this video is about. But I actually have a list of all the businesses from Yellow already. Okay, so I don't really have to come on the front end, but I'm just showing you guys. Okay, so here's pages and pages and pages of plumbers, right? Some of these are quite well known, right? So see these ones that have got a logo in there and extra details, they pay money to have extra details added to this directory. So this one doesn't have a logo, which is a sign that they haven't, yeah, so they haven't put a lot of information on here. Okay, so this is potentially a good lead. They don't even have a website, which can actually be harder to sell them, because if they haven't got a website, they don't understand the importance of even having a website. Or they might have one and Yellow just hasn't listed it yet. So let's have a look and see if they actually do, and Yellow is just that bad they haven't listed it yet. Okay, so here we go. Here, no, the Yellow. So there's the Yellow listing. Blah blah blah. They might actually be this company. Yeah, they are. So they do actually have a website, and they are concentrating on solar energy. So they're all about that green shit, right? But as we can see here, this is a bad website, right? It's there's a few reasons why it's bad, but it's actually a very good starting point. This is a good lead for today's video, actually. So the point I'm making, I'm not going to get into why it's a bad website, but um, well, there you go. It speaks for itself. I told you it was a bad website. So it's a very bad website for many reasons. It's just not working for them. All right. So I can see that they are probably a smaller business that is cracking into the solar market, and they've been in business for over 40 years, so it's a family-owned business. So this is the exact type of business I like to help, okay? Because it's a family business, local, um, and they are at the right stage where they know they need a website. They've identified that the solar, so in New Zealand, a lot of this green energy stuff is government subsidised and stuff like that. So they've probably worked on, you know, um, this is the market they've tailored towards, right? So I don't have to worry too much about the market they've tailored towards, although I will do some competitor analysis, like look at other solar companies in Canterbury, Christchurch, New Zealand that are in the same market to get an idea of how much work needs to be done on this website to get it up to that level, so that it's actually competitive with their um, competitors. Because, like, let me put it like this: if I'm a potential customer, I've just bought a new home, and I'm like, yeah, I love solar energy and green energy, and the sun's going to explode. If I'm one of those people and I go, I want solar panels for my house. So let's pretend I'm a customer now. On Google, these are the competitors of this person here. Okay, James Palmer Limited. Okay, so on the first page of Google results, as I suspected, they are not. They're not even on the first page. And because it is a big market, there's a lot of companies putting a lot of money into making sure that they are on the first page of Google. Okay, so I know how to get pages on the first businesses on the first page of Google. But what I'm doing here is I'm making a point that our little lead that we are looking at, we're qualifying the lead at the moment. Okay, so are they qualified for my skill? Do they care about their business? Do they want to invest the time and effort? Because I'm not interested in clients who don't understand it. All right, they are too much of a headache, and they end up taking too much of my time trying to convince them of things they should already know they need to be doing. Okay, so I can see this lead is qualifying for me as a web developer and a consultant and a Google guy, because I can see they've got a website, they are listed on yellow, um, but they haven't invested a lot of money into their online, and that could be for different reasons, which I won't get into too much. But let's just say they've probably been quoted a lot of money, they've become confused about the whole thing, and they, at the end of the day, they just want to go out and put solar panels on the roof. So they haven't had a proper consultation yet. Someone who's like me, who's come along, who deals with tradesmen all the time, doesn't speak gobbledygook, and doesn't quote horrendous prices. The only thing that makes it a bit difficult for me sometimes is these businesses go, it sounds too good to be true, because I don't quote them high prices. I promise that I'm going to do some high value work. So this new sales process that I've come up with, which also allows me to build a YouTube channel and get better at using these new AI tools, is really, I'm not going to be cold calling businesses. So once upon a time, not long ago, when I wasn't a hoe, I would have rung this guy as a first initial contact. Okay, I would have rung him up because I'm very good at cold calling. I've been doing it for a long time, and then I probably would have got them as a customer from a cold call. But I really am. I just I don't want to get back into cold calling. Let's just put it like that. So I'm just going to make these videos. I'm going to rebuild this website today, right now. I'm going to make it look fantastic, and then I'm going to email him the website that's been made. And if he doesn't even email me back or whatever, so be it. I'm going to do one of these every day, and probably one out of maybe 5 or 10 people will actually email me back. Some people will get upset that I've made a video, probably, but they shouldn't. If they get upset that I've made a video, too bad. The video is the video, right? I'm just speaking frankly and truthfully in the videos about this situation. And the videos are helpful for other people and for many reasons. And they're actually helpful for the business, even if they choose not to email me back and say they want the website that I've created for them. Okay? So, let's get into it. So, as you know, if you've watched my other videos, there is new software available. There's a few of these IDEs. This one's called Cursor. It was kind of the first one to do this, and I give them kudos and respect for being the first ones to do this. And what they did was they took VS Code. I won't get into this too much today because it's not the point of the video, but this open source software, Visual Studio Code, this one here, um, this software, by open source I mean you can download the source code and configure it and customize it yourself, okay? So what they have done, what Cursor has done is they have taken VS Code, open source software, and they have built in AI agents and stuff into it. So now instead of having to sit there and find code on the internet and copy paste it into your folder and then edit the code and go through the code, you don't have to do that now, which is a massive step in web development. So there's a lot of web developers saying, oh, it does a crap job and shit like that, but that's not true. If you don't know what you're doing, it does do a crap job. But if you know what you're doing a little bit and you learn, you watch it as you go and you keep learning and wanting to make it better and improve it, it'll actually do a very good job and very quickly. So a lot of these rip-off web companies are in some serious trouble because of this software, which I'm like very thankful for because I'm sick of watching people get rich off the backs of guys like this. All right, so. So that's VS Code. As you can see, it looks very similar to Cursor. Okay. Um, so let's open the project folder, which is new projects. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a project every day, and I'm going to keep these projects. So if the business comes back to me and says, hey, yeah, I'd like you to finish off that website and put it on my domain name, I can do that for them, and I'll just keep the projects in here. Okay. So this project is, so actually what we'll do is we'll actually name the project his business name, James Palmer. James Palmer, who's a plumber, who's obviously getting into solar panels. Looks like he's been in this market for a wee while. He's probably having a little bit of success, but I can see from his internet presence he's not having as much success as he'd probably like to. Right, so we now have a project folder, and the reason I've put one web projects is because I want it to appear at the top of the list when I click on here, right? So I don't have to scroll down. That's just, I'm one of those guys who doesn't like to fill the entire jug and boil the entire jug for one cup of coffee. All right, I don't know why people do that, but anyway. So let's get into the consultation. Let's get into the actual building the website. Okay, so this is going to happen really quickly, surprisingly quickly, and so I haven't been driveling on. What I've done is I've shown you how to find a lead and qualify that lead. So I've found a lead and I've qualified this lead. Now in New Zealand, he's got an extra.co.nz, so he's definitely been in business a long time. Those were some of the first email addresses that were dished out by Telecom in New Zealand, and at Extra was an old Telecom. So he certainly needs some upgrading, and there's some tricks that he's probably not aware of, or he's been quoted ridiculous prices for, to have a proper email address associated with the domain that redirects the emails to his email address, and he's probably even using Outlook. I mean, that's how old school this dude is, right? Um, so he wouldn't have to change all of his email stuff that he's using because that's a real headache for a lot of people, especially older people. They don't want to start using Google and stuff because they simply aren't comfortable with the user interfaces. I recommend that they do switch up and upgrade, but I also understand that they are happy with their old user interfaces.
So, and he wouldn't want to change his business cards and all that sort of stuff. So, I've been doing this for a while now, so I've dealt with a lot of people and I know what their headaches are and what their wants and needs are. So there's a bit of a, as a developer, I'm like, yeah, you need to be doing this, but at the same time, I understand they don't want all the headaches straight away. So you've got to slowly integrate them into the new stuff. But there are ways, as a web developer, the problem, like say, web development is all problem solving, right? This is what it all is. So um, the problem is I need my client to upgrade, and the other problem is he doesn't want to because he's comfortable with his old user interfaces and stuff, right? So that's my problem as a web developer, okay? Now, normally a web developer would quote him a lot of money because they understand they got to do some work for him to allow him to use his old interfaces, but actually the back end is all upgraded. So I don't quote a lot of money for that. I've come across those problems before, and I simply include those things as part of my service, right? I've built all of that stuff into my processes, so I just do this stuff for free for these guys. That's why other web companies don't like me much, because they don't tell these guys, oh, you're going to need this and you're going to need that, you're going to need that. They don't tell them everything they need up front. They get them on board by switching their domain name over. So this guy will be probably stuck with some web company, probably someone like Yellow, actually. Although, yeah, as bad as Yellow is, they don't build websites as bad as this. So maybe his son has built it or something like that, because it really should have at least social media links or something like that. But or maybe he did it using a Weebly template or something like that. Not sure. But yeah, so my point is he's currently stuck. Most likely he's stuck with a web developer at the moment who is not interested in really helping him. I can see that by the state of the website. And it'll become confusing for him to switch his domain name away. So you can see if you're a developer, it really shouldn't even have the www there. It should just be straight solarcentral.co.nz. So and it shouldn't have the HTML there either. This is all very novice stuff. Okay, so yeah, so these are very easy things for someone who knows what they're doing to fix, especially if we're using AI. So I'm just explaining how I can recognise that this lead is qualified for me to even bother trying to contact. Now, normally I'd cold call them at this point because I can see all these things that I can easily fix on his website and make the website better. And by doing those small changes, Google sees that. So when someone looks for solar panels for my house, Christchurch, excuse me, um, the better your website is with content and all those little things that I was talking about, like removing the HTML, taking the www away so the URL shorter, having social media links, putting links to this website from other websites that are relevant, all of those sort of things um, increase your Google rankings. Okay, so don't forget I'm emailing this video to this guy, so of course I'm explaining some extra stuff in here, but it's also good information for other people who are trying to fix their stuff. Now, one thing I've been debating with myself is with all these AI tools coming out for people to use on their phones, the average person's going to be looking for a plumber or solar panels using AI. They're not really going to be using Google, are they? Well, those things are yet to be seen to some extent, but um, I've come to the conclusion that if you're a business, you are still going to need a pretty good website, because the AI is still going to be looking for sources of information and references to send people to. Okay, so if I go on ChatGPT and I say, I need solar panels in Christchurch for my house, it's still going to recommend me some websites. And how's it going to evaluate the websites to send you to? Well, that is the dangerous part about only a few AI companies having the ability to recommend some companies. Right, and of course that's what Google does here, right? They recommend certain companies, and those companies, these recommendations, these website recommendations, business recommendations are based off how good, quote quote, how good the website is for how it's ranked, right? So now that's a paid spot, sponsored. Here's an AI overview. So here's the first organic result. Okay, so this is a competitor analysis. So I'm not gonna. So we have to ask ourselves, well, why is this website the number one organic spot for this search in Christchurch, New Zealand? Okay. Now I already know, but my client doesn't know yet. He specialises in solar panels and plumbing and stuff, right? So, but he wants the business because there's a lot of people searching for solar panels in Christchurch, right? So at the moment, his website doesn't appear here, so he's not getting those clicks, is he? Right? So this is where big companies start to get a bit worried because I can create this website here, a version of it that's better than this one for James. I mean, I haven't even spoken to James, don't even know James, right? But I can create a website that's better than this one here for search engine optimization, social media, uh, all of the functions and features, a new updated template. So this is just a template. That's why it looks a bit nicer because it's just simply a nicer template. All the contact stuff, the products. See, this is the biggest part of the SEO. Okay, so they have all of this content built into the website, and that's a big part of the reason why they have got that first spot on Google. Okay, so that's actually linking to okay, so these people are very aggressive in the market. They have two websites under the same brand, which is okay. So it's a nationwide company. So they are probably actually a franchise outfit, which means I could probably actually. I know how these guys work because I used to work for HRV. That's New Zealand's most successful franchise, and I understand how all that works. I could take these guys on. So if James was interested, I'm not saying he is, and I'm not saying I am either. I'm just saying I could actually, if James, I would need someone. If to take these guys on, I could do it because it's all done using internet, right? Really, and CRM, which I was talking about the other day. If you've got a good CRM system built and you got it tweaked and customized, to take care of a lot of the back end stuff like your office administration, sales processes, accounts, forecasting, telephone operating. If you've got your CRM set up to do all of that stuff, you can launch a franchise very quickly, right? Now, so I could build all of this easily using AI. I could have this done in a week. I could build a big CRM system like this in a week. I could probably do it quicker than that, to be honest with you, using AI, but I would suggest within a week I could have a franchise CRM system like this built, because this is not as complicated as you might think. But I would need an actual solar guy who's got the suppliers, the imports, he's got those things set up to launch it as a franchise. So I'd have to help James build his Christchurch franchise, which would be the head franchise, the franchisor, and it would be the model for any other franchises sold around the country. Okay, so he'd be the Christchurch solar guy. Then you would have, set it up the same as HRV. So you would then list the franchise available for purchase in Wanganui, Auckland, and there's different areas of Auckland, so you can have about I think you can have about 3 or 4 in the Auckland area that go around selling solar. It becomes a big sales exercise, selling solar panels. You have a direct marketing campaign to direct market and hit Google real hard, like these guys are already doing. They're probably not doing direct marketing, but they are certainly investing into the digital space. Excuse me. And here they are working with Elon Musk, right? So that's the type of that might be a product that Tesla supplies for them. Nah, these are their partners basically. So this is Elon Musk in New Zealand, right? So look at that. Now that is a whole other can of worms, right? So sometimes I wonder why Elon Musk doesn't let me achieve anything on X.com. Well, I just discovered yet another reason why he doesn't like guys like me, right? Because I understand how these industries work, just marketing and whatnot, and digital space. And these guys have already whooped around the planet and set themselves up with deals like this. So here he is with his finger in another pie in New Zealand, right? So I don't have a problem with Elon, but I'm very suspicious of Elon as having walked around and stepped on the little guys. And he's got a team of powerful people behind him who I just suspect that he's not as nice as he seems. Okay? So we're in New Zealand. Shouldn't we be helping New Zealand businesses? So my idea is, like, I won't get into talking about that too much, but I've just stumbled across another reason why Elon is I'm a competitor to Elon. Okay, believe it or not, I know he's made billions of dollars and whatnot, and he's got a team of frogs behind him and all that crap. But I keep finding more and more reasons why he is probably no friend of mine, right? Because he doesn't want another franchise launching in New Zealand, right? He's working with these guys, okay? So, um, and look, so little James here, right? I'm having an issue with my mouse at the moment. I need to go and buy another one. Little James here. Oh, my mouth, it's sticking. Right. Yeah, little James here. Look what it just did. Oh, it's still doing it. Don't tell me I'm going to have to go and buy another mouse today. My point is, yeah, I'm going to have to go and buy another mouse. Hopefully I don't have to stop this video. Oh, I'll just... Yeah, this mouse is dead. Right, so I'm qualifying the lead and all that, but yeah, where was I before the mouse started destroying me? Um, yeah, there's a sponsored. So even when I search for James's business, right? So this is something James and most people need to be aware of. I've searched for James Palmer Limited, okay? His competitors are paying Google to be above him for his own company name search, right? This is common. So I haven't searched for solar panels and then found some ads for some companies for solar panels. I've searched for James Palmer Limited, right? And here are his competitors um, jumping in front of him, like holding out their hands going, pick me, pick me, pick me. Right? It's just all very gross, okay? So James needs a hand. There's no doubt about it. You can see it for yourself, you know. Now, I'm the type of guy who is rather competitive, and once I get up and running, and there's a lot of time that would be involved in building a franchise. I could do it the same as HRV did it. I know I worked for them. I know what they did. I know who they were. I know how the direct marketing exercise is really what made it successful. So you would have to build a digital CRM that could manage each franchise from a central location, which is what this website is basically, right? And then you would launch marketing campaigns. So I don't know if James is in a position to be able to even do that, or if he's even interested in becoming a multimillionaire. But that's what you can do. Like, so I could do the digital side of it, the marketing side of it, and all that. But I would need someone like James to take care of all of the actual physical going out and doing the installations, right? And taking care of product quality and all that stuff because I don't know anything about solar panels, right? So, all right. Anyway, all of that said, uh, let's rebuild this website for James. Let's get him to the next level, okay? Because at the moment, if people do click on his website, but don't forget he doesn't even appear under solar panel searches Christchurch. He might maybe. I mean, I could check all of this. I can do more extensive research, but there's just no need to. But I'm just doing a little bit more here. So even just for that keyword, solar panels, I need solar panels for my house. He's not there, right? Even Reddit is on the first page of Google. So he's not there, right? He needs to be there. Like, you just have to be there. Why do you have to be on first page of Google? Well, because if you're on first page of Google, you know you're performing really well everywhere else on the internet. Okay, if you've met the Google criteria for high rankings on Google, you know that you are ranking well everywhere else on the internet as well. Okay, so let's say someone does manage to find his website at the moment. Um, when they click on it, because they're not just going to take the first solar panel company they find. If they're not looking for a particular company that because it hasn't been recommended to them, they just look. They don't know anything about solar panels or solar panel companies. They go on Google. They say, oh, I want to look at some solar panel companies and options. They don't just click on one website and then make a decision. Ring him and then make a decision right there and then. All right, do they? Okay, so they go back to Google and they look at a few companies. And if I was putting solar panels on my home and I love my home, I was proud of my home, and me and my beautiful wife that I don't have had just bought this home, we're having kids and stuff. I'm going to make, I'm going to spend some time making a decision. And the decision I end up making is probably going to end up being going with a company like this because the website instills more confidence in the ability. I might have to pay a little bit more through these guys, but for the confidence in the guarantees, the quality of work, all of that sort of stuff, that is psychologically instilled via this website front end. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is upgrade his front end, which is the template. Then we need to SEO, so get some more content, as in some more pages. So this is the Christchurch franchise website. um, yeah, you see what I'm saying? So he needs content, he needs a better template, and really that's all he needs. Okay, he needs social media and stuff like that, which is a 5-minute job, right? But from the template and having some additional search engine optimized content, he's immediately going to start getting better results on Google, but more importantly, he's going to get a better conversion rate. So when people click on the website, he looks more professional, it instills more confidence, they're more likely to click contact us and actually ring him. Right? So that's the concerns. Now from that function of, that foundation of having a new template and some SEO content, it's very, then you can begin to actually market your business online properly. There's actually no point spending money on Google advertising, social media advertising, if you're sending people to this website. I'm sorry to say, you're kind of wasting your money. Because even though you might, you spend money on Google, you come up top for a couple of searches, people click on it, they come to this website, they still don't get the confidence they need from this website, right? So that's a really important thing to understand. So the first thing you have to do is instill confidence in your website. You have to build a proper website. It's like building a house, right? If you build a shitty foundation, you can build the rest of the house, but it's just going to fall over eventually, right? So the foundation of your business online is to have a good template, and some good quality content, that instills confidence that you know what you're doing. The quality of your work's really good. So he's a really good, well qualified lead because he's been in the industry. I don't want to be doing this for cowboys, by the way, right? I don't want to just do this to make money, right? Of course I need to make money, but at the end of the day, I don't want to just have some muppet 20-year-old who thinks they can go and install solar panels and they've managed to get a business loan for $100,000. Those guys are actually the worst to work for, right? Not only do they go out and destroy the market, but they are pricks to work with as a contractor. So this is the type of guy who is fantastic to have as a client. So he's a really well qualified lead, right? And he deserves a piece of this market that Elon Musk is in New Zealand, right? Right. So yeah. Look, Tesla Powerwall, goodness gracious me. Let's have a look at this website. So this is New Zealand. This is Elon in New Zealand. Good grief. Right. Okay. So reality is they are more than likely they just manufacture them in America, and which is cool, or China, and supply them to New Zealand. So they're actually, it might actually be that really I shouldn't look at it as Elon as a competitor. He's probably not. This company, Tesla Powerwall, is most likely not actually partnered with this franchise, although I know how things work behind the scenes, and they probably do have some sort of handshake deal, because this company has promised higher sales. Tesla Powerwall has dropped the price for supply. So, but yeah, if James here decides to listen to this consultation, which I hope he is, um, he really, the idea of having Tesla Powerwall, he might not like Tesla Powerwall, right? He might have another supplier, probably does, another manufacturer. But what you've got to consider from a powerful marketing branding perspective is that having Tesla on your website is a brand marriage. Okay, so when we're talking about instilling confidence in the market, so a new homeowner, they want to put they want to put solar panels, if you put Tesla on here and also a New Zealand government symbol, because let's say you've got some sort of subsidy available for your customers through the government for green energy or whatever. If you put those logos on your website, even if you don't actually have to have some sort of relationship with the government subsidy thing. That might just be something the homeowner applies for themselves, all right? But when you put those logos, those brands on your brand, you are building a great confidence. You're increasing the value of your brand by attaching it to those brands, right? You're lifting your brand up magnificently, right? So you got to consider all those things. That's why it's so. You simply might just have a link to the government subsidy website for green energy, uh, but for someone to apply. But putting that logo up here, it's a psychological thing. Okay, it's a great advantage to do things like that. So anyway, that's enough talking about the client, the potential client, I should say, and we've done a little bit of market analysis there. I can see the scope of work. The scope of work is based off this franchise here. So this is the target, as in this is the goal, is to get James's website looking from where is he? This one, no, sorry, this one here. We want it to go from here to here. Okay. Now that can happen very quickly using AI. Right. Now I'm not going to do the entire website. Okay. Because why would I? He hasn't paid me anything. He might not be interested in doing this. He might be retiring. Probably is talking about retiring. I come across a lot of these guys who they just want to retire because they don't want the headache of everything I've just talked about. But my job as a developer is not just as a developer; it's to take all those headaches away and get this done for him, right? So he can just go out and do the installations, right? So the website starts to work. He has reduced costs for his internet marketing. His internet marketing starts to actually work properly, and he actually starts getting jobs, and then he can contract young guys. Right, that's the whole idea, is that we get him some work in the local area so that he can start training up young guys and they can go and do the work for him and he can just manage their work and the quality of their work, right? So I used to work for painting companies and that when I was younger, and that's generally how the bigger painting companies work. The owner of the company doesn't actually do any painting, or very rarely does, but he manages teams of painters and he just goes around from house to house or job to job, making sure those painters are maintaining a certain standard. Right? That's where I like to get local older business owners to that point. But unfortunately, a lot of them have had enough of this shit because there is so much shit that they have to deal with, particularly in this digital space. They've just been raped by web companies just lying, ripping them off, not giving them the proper information, not putting it in layman's terms for them, and those are the guys I'm at war with. I can't stand them, I hate them, right? So, well, there's no hate in my heart, right? But you know what I mean. So anyway, enough talking about all that. So we are currently in. We're currently in. Oh, it's because I have it down here, do I? Oh, that's right. The mouse went AWOL. Okay, so this is Cursor. Okay. So let's look at building James's website really quickly, right? So what we want to do is we'll go and get his domain name. Not that one. That one. Oh, did I close it? No, here it is. Um, right. We'll use the 3.7 Sonnet, or not the Max. And what we'll do is we'll say, I need to rebuild my website and make it better than um, now it's not quite as easy as I'm making it out right here. You got to be careful when you give it a command like that or a prompt like that, because it will start to do some stuff that is really unnecessary at this point. Because what it'll do is it'll go and look at this solar website, and it's going to see all these functions and features that um, it's not that James doesn't need them, but he's not ready for them. We need to do some other things on the website first. But really, what I want the AI to do is I want the AI to come and look. So actually, I'll add to the prompt uh, and make it better than that website. But only, yeah, we'll add to the prompt, but only by improving the template. Maybe find a free modern template and on page SEO, better content and page titles, etc. Okay, so what I'm telling it to do, so what we've done is we've evaluated the client, we've qualified the client, found the lead, all that. We've done a little bit of market analysis, so we've looked at some of his competitors. We are not even looking at some of the lesser competitors. We're going straight to the top. This is one of the biggest competitors in the market for solar panels at the moment. Um, they are heavily tied up with Tesla, so they are basically a front end for Tesla, right? So it is really they've even got Tesla charging things and shit. So this is a front end for Tesla, okay? So really, we are. You can get into some very interesting conversations. So if James became a client of mine, I would immediately ring Tesla Solar and say I want to deal like these guys. Right, I want to be able to present all of these products on my client's website. That would be the first phone call I'd be making if James came on board. Right? And that way James can then offer all of these products, you see. Now, there is a chance that James is contracted to this company as well, right? So, what a lot of these companies do is they are just the marketing, really, and the administration, and they get the inquiries in, and then they contract them out to guys like James, right? But there is no reason why James cannot be competing in this market for himself because these guys are making a lot of money, mate. All right, a lot of money. And the only reason they're making money is because they know everything I have just discussed. They know the value and the power of it, and they don't want guys like James to understand that stuff, right? So, anyway, let's get back to proving that this can be done. So I need to rebuild my website, Solar Central, and make it better than christchurchsolar.com, but only by improving the template. Maybe find a free modern template and do more on page SEO. So search engine optimization for those that don't know, right? So basically the Google bots and that they come around looking at websites and they look at what your page titles are, they look at the content in the page. So you want to have a lot of pages that are related to solar panels and solar energy, green energy, all that sort of information. And then that increases your ranking on a Google search. So when someone's looking for information on solar panels or green energy or how can I help the planet stop exploding, they're more likely to recommend your website, right, as a source of information. Okay. Really crucial foundational stuff for you to understand when you're building a website, or if you're a business owner and you're looking to build a website, you got to know that shit. All right. Anyway, let's see what it does for a start. Here we go. I'll help you. So this is really a valuable video for James. I hope he bothers to actually sit down and watch this video. I'll help you rebuild any other business owner too. It doesn't matter what industry you're in, what market you're in. It's all the same techniques for digital. You got to consider every time I build a website for a company, whether a painter, builder, plumber, whatever. Um, these are all the same things you need to consider. So I've built many websites, some of them the biggest performing websites on Google in New Zealand and Australasia, floral websites, wedding websites, all sorts, right? And I became very aware that a lot of the techniques that I just showed you for evaluating everything are the same. You know, it's the same across any industry. Okay. Um, I'll help you rebuild your solo central website with a better template and improved SEO. Let's first explore your current site structure and then look at modern templates. So it's actually going to go and visit the website. It's going to look at the pages because I've mentioned that we need a better template and pages. So I've kept it simple for the AI at the start. So it knows that the main task is to look at the pages, the content in the pages, and improve the pages. And it's also going to look at the structure, the layout, the CSS because of the template, right? Um, looks like your workspace is empty. Let's create. So it's talking about this here. It's a new project. This is the workspace. There's nothing in it. It's a brand new project. Let's create a plan to rebuild your website with a modern template and better SEO than your competitor. So I didn't even say that was the competitor, right? But it knew that's the competitor. That's pretty cool, right? Um, Website rebuild plan, template selection. Let's look for free modern templates suitable for a solo business. Search to see now. It went and performed a search. The task was search the web for best free modern HTML templates for solar energy business website. Now let's search for information about effective SEO practices for solar companies. Okay, well that's fantastic because what that is normally I would have to go and use Google Tools to really do the research to make sure I'm concentrating on using the correct keywords that people are searching for. Um, so that is actually mind blowing. That's only one sentence, but that is a lot of work. Going to the Google keyword tool, looking for what people are searching for, how many people are searching for it, and that is what you build your pages based on, right? So the page titles, the page headings, the page content, the page images, those are your target. They become your target keywords. And how do you target those keywords? You create pages that are called those keywords. So you might have solar panels for my home would be one keyword phrase, right? And then you would build. There are rules that you want to follow. So 3 paragraphs, 200 words with 6 images that are related to solar panels for my home, stuff like that, right? So what it's saying is not only has it looked for the best SEO practices for websites, it knows that obviously. If you're a web developer, if you're a content creator, you know that. Alright, but it's actually going to go and find articles in regards to solar energy specific. So that's cool, man. Based on my research, I'll create a plan to rebuild your Solar Central website with a modern template and improved SEO. Here's my comprehensive approach. Website rebuild plan for Solar Central template selection. After researching free modern Solar templates, I recommend using the Solar Tech template from ThemeWagon. This free bootstrap HTML5, so that is an up-to-date HTML5 is where we're at the moment, I'm pretty sure. And Bootstrap is a very common in web industry CSS integration. Modern clean design specifically for renewable energy businesses, responsive layout that works on all devices, so responsive means that it works on mobile phones and all that sort of stuff. 10 pre-built HTML pages, so what that means is there are 10 different page layout designs um, about us, contact us, our products page, uh, there's just basically there's some templates with different layout options that you can use. So You might decide to put a booking page in there with a calendar, and the layouts are kind of, there's 10 different options. So that's pretty good because most normally come with about 3 or 5 template pages. Sticky navigation bar and back to top button. Right, so sticky just means the navigation bar is always visible, even when the user scrolls down. And a back to top button means that the user doesn't have to scroll all the way back up to the top. They can just click a button at any point, because that's what sticky means. They're always on the screen. So they can click back to top, take them straight back to the top. Newsletter and contact form elements, great. So it comes with all the contact form stuff. So at the moment he has a really uh, novice, I'll say, contact form, right? Someone's put a Google map in there for him. Yeah, whatever, bro. We can make all that a lot better very quickly. So that's the contact form site. So it'll have a very modern, nicely styled. Plus, it's got a newsletter function built into it, which is very common these days. You want to capture your clients' or visitors' emails. So the way to do that is to put an offer in there, like keep up to date with the latest trends in green energy. Help save your planet. That sort of shit. And help save your planet by joining our newsletter and being informed about all the local Christchurch community shit. Right? And people get excited about that, and they're like, yeah, man, I want to help my community, man. And yeah, it's Christchurch, yeah, man, I'm into it, right? So you end up building up a list of email addresses, and you can automate a newsletter that goes and looks for articles related to local Christchurch news about solar energy or New Zealand government subsidies and what the government's doing to help the environment. And you can automate that, so you don't necessarily have to sit down and make a newsletter every day or week. You can actually automate that sort of stuff, particularly using AI. Right? Google Maps integration, fantastic. So it already comes with. Oh, so what it did was it went and looked at his website, saw that he had Google Map on there. If he's running his business from his house, you probably actually don't want a Google Map on there. But if he has an office somewhere or something, and it does help instill some confidence even if you are running the business from your home. But anyway, it's gone and looked, seen that he has that built into it, and so it's recognised that it needed to find a template that has that. So that's cool. Site structure, I recommend organising your website with the following pages: home, about us, including company history and team, services with individual pages for each service. Yep, that's the most crucial one for SEO. That's where you can build your SEO pages into it. Okay, so those individual pages for services, they are your marketing ammunition online. Okay, that's how you build up a great base of pages that are SEO targeting the keywords that you want to appear on Google for. Okay, that's a very good recommendation. That's always been my recommendation. Projects gallery. Obviously, we would need to get some more photos from James to fill that gallery up. That probably wouldn't be very hard. Simply a matter of doing a drive-by from some of his previous jobs and grabbing a quick photo with a high-definition camera. Or more than likely, he has a lot of photos already of stuff from on the job sites and stuff. So we want those photos, and we want to organise them into galleries for installations and stuff like that. So yeah. A blog, that's a bit of a headache. I'll probably just turn that off. Unless he's actively posting on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or whatever. If he's doing that, then I would plug that in, because the blog on the website can be plugged into his social media blog. So every time he puts a post up on Facebook or whatever, it automatically puts that up on his website as well. So if he is active on social media, that's a very good function feature to have. If he's not, it is not necessarily actually a good thing to turn on the website, because when people are looking at the website, if they do look at the blog, they don't often do it, but if they did go and look at the blog, they'll see that the last time he posted on the internet was 6 months ago, and that's actually just not really that good to do that. These days you can actually set up some things that automatically blog for you as well, similar to how I was talking about, the newsletter. You can automate some things so that it just it blogs some generic posts that the government's doing, right? So you can tell it to watch a certain government page or environment pages on the government or in the country, and every time they post a new blog or a new post or something, this will detect that and it will copy it, rewrite it, and create a nice new blog for you. So actually you can automate all that stuff. So I say turn it off or whatever, but you can actually set that up to be automated. And of course all the contact information. Okay, now here's the SEO plan, SEO optimization. Based on my research, here are the key SEO strategies we'll implement. Keywords to target, primary, solar company, Christchurch. See, this is fantastic stuff. Okay, now obviously you want to target that keyword phrase, right? But the fact that AI went, looked at the website, came back, this is your strategy, mate. Like, from a development perspective, I'm telling you, this has saved a lot of time and effort. And if I was building the website, I wasn't making this video and doing a consultation, I wouldn't be spending all this time talking about it all. I would just be doing it. So I would have done the website by now, by the way. Okay. So the value in this video is me taking you through it. If you're a business owner, you want to get into business, you want to understand digital marketing, online, search engines, stuff like that, this is what you need to understand. And straight up, most businesses in New Zealand fail dismally at this, and it's not their fault. It's the fault of companies like Yellow Pages that they have trusted and relied on for this information. They have not been given any of this information. They have been sharked and they have been ripped off. And it's infuriating because those are our local business owners. That's our community, right? They've just been ripped off by these pricks in Auckland and overseas, right? So hopefully we can save some of them. It's getting to a point now, I don't know, we'll find out soon. I haven't been doing this for a few years now, so we're going to find out what the situation is pretty quickly by sending out some of these emails. Anyway, primary solar company Christchurch, solar water heating Christchurch, yeah. Now, from working at HRV, I do know a little bit about this stuff, and I had some plumbing clients when I was a web developer in my previous life. So I am aware that, I know a little bit about the industry. This secondary, those are the primary keywords that he wants to target. In other words, they want to be on the homepage, they want to be on the main marketing message, right? I'm not going to worry about talking about that much more, but basically, it's like a shop. Imagine a physical shop that you walk up to. Right, there might be many products related to solar panels and solar, right? And that's like the warehouse, for instance. You walk up to the warehouse, they have thousands of products in there, right? But through this market analysis, we can see that at the moment, these particular products are more, people want them, there's more demand for these products than those products. So on the front window of the shop, the primary location, we want to have these on the front signage, right? Secondary, as in after you've walked in the door as a customer, potential customer, because you saw these on the front window and you're like, wow, man, that's exactly what I'm looking for. I want to go and look at that. I'm excited about that because of all the buzz in the market about it, right? So you walk into the shop, then you have secondary, solar panel installations, solar panel heating, registered electricians, okay? So they would be on the secondary shelves in the shop. These would be on the first shelves and on the front window of the shop. These would be on the front window of the shop, but they would be smaller down the bottom, right? So the primary and secondary. and plumbers. So it is related to plumbers. So obviously plumbers have been selected to be the go-to for solar installations, and no doubt that is related to the particularly the heating side of it, because the plumbing involved with solar panel. Yeah, like pools and water heating. Yeah, I get that. Anyway, long tail, solar panels worth it in Christchurch, solar heat. Okay, so see, it's done a really good job here. So these are basically the main keywords that other competitors are targeting as far as Google searches go and stuff like that. On-page SEO implementation title. So now what it's going to do is it's going to, I imagine, I haven't read this obviously, I just wrote it, but it's probably going to just reiterate everything I just discussed here. So we'll just quickly work through it. Title tags, create clear keyword rich title tags under 60 characters. Home, solar, central, solar, water heating and electrical services and Christchurch services, professional solar installation services, blah, blah, blah. So what it's saying is you need to have those on your homepage, and your homepage is like your shop window that I was just talking about. Okay, so when you're thinking of a website, think of it as a shop. Right? Even if you don't sell products, it's still a shop. It's an office that customers are driving past. Right? So you want to have them on your homepage. Meta description. That's basically, for people who don't know, that's kind of written into the page. You can't see it on the page, but it's on the page for search bots and stuff to come and read. Some people say you don't need it these days, but you still might as well do it. Write compelling descriptions under 160 characters that include keywords, home, right? So and the meta descriptions are also what are used for these here. So this is a meta description, okay? That bit there, right? Um, Yeah. Anyway, URL structure, create clean, keyword-rich URLs. Okay, so what they're talking about there is the page titles become the URL. So if I go our services, you see this is not. Okay, so you have what's happening here is, because don't forget the bots and Google and that, they see this. They see solar, they see central, they see our services, okay? But they also see all this other crap too, okay? So the idea is that you clean the URLs, which means removing those. So there is a way to remove those. And each of these here should actually become a page, okay? So what you would end up with in the URL is something like this, okay? It would have dashes in there, obviously, right? But so now when Google comes along, it sees solar, central, hydraulic, underfloor heating, and that is a page about that service, okay? So when someone searches for hydraulic underfloor heating, or even if they just search for underfloor heating, this page is much more likely to be recommended by Google, and it would appear on a Google search like this, underfloor heating. Alright, so, these are all sponsored. Don't ever look at these sponsored ones as far as trying to figure out how to create your website, because they're paying to be there, right? So they haven't done anything special on their pages. I mean, they've done something, don't get me wrong, but the ones you want to be looking at are these ones that are not sponsored, because you want to like, well, why are they there, right? So let's have a look at this page for this search, okay? It's exactly what I was just saying. Underfloor heating, right? And on the page, underfloor heating, NZ. Wholesale trade inquiries, warm floors, underfloor heating. Right, so that's the target keyword, underfloor heating. Okay, do you get that? Now, some good news for you. Um, there's not a lot of work, believe it or not, that's been done on this website for the target keyword underfloor heading. So it would actually be reasonably easy to create a better SEO structure than this company for underfloor heating. Right. They've done a little bit of work, don't get me wrong, but that's easily beaten by someone like me. Okay, so these are the things I look at as this is not just web development now. Now what we're talking about here is search engine optimized content, right? So the content creation. So these are different areas of web development. Okay. Yep. So anyway, that's what that's talking about when it talks about URL structure and keyword-rich URLs, right? You get that? So, so there we go. There's another demonstration of that. Okay, solar water heating, solar pool heating. Okay, so image optimization, add alt text to all images with relevant keywords. So what it's saying there is, see these images here? If we, how do that actually? The images actually have titles too, because when, I'm explaining a lot here, but when the bots come along and they see the page titles, the URLs, they see an image, but that's all they see. They don't understand what the image is unless you title it properly. Okay, so you have to add titles into the image, and so to show you what I'm talking about, these people probably have added image titles, alt text and stuff. Actually, they might not have. I'm not going to invest a lot of time into researching this, to be honest with you, at the moment. But what it's saying there anyway is that you do actually have to, you don't have to, but if you want better Google rankings, you would add titles to your images in the back, right? Now, a lot of people don't know these things, and because they don't know these things, and it's something you don't notice physically when you look at the page, a lot of web development companies don't bother doing this sort of stuff. That's why it's quite often easy to beat the big companies, because the big companies have paid a lot of money to a web development company to make a website that looks great, but they haven't done all these little things in the back end. And when you do all these little things combined, it's our powers combined, Power Rangers, #1 on Google, mate. That's how it's done. Right, so URL structure, image optimization, so that's what it's talking about there, adding actual, so this is going to do that for you. The only issue is we don't actually have images yet, but we can get around that. We can get around that. We can actually use some generic images in the meantime, create this website, send it to James, and then I'm going to move on to the next one. I'm not going to even think about James ever again, all right? Unless he emails me back. In that instance, I will go 100% for that guy. All right? My clients, I look after my clients. Let's just say that. I mean, I'm looking after him right now. All right? I'm telling him everything he needs to know, everything that he has not been told, everything he's struggling with, all that shit. I'm putting it into plain text English for him, and I'm running him through competitor analysis, market analysis, even discuss the franchise options. That's what his competitors are doing, how they're partnered with Tesla. Right, I see that shit. Right, that's valuable stuff for a business owner to understand. These are your options. This is where you need to start. So today what we're doing is we're building the website, and we've done all the analysis we need to and more. And this is where he needs to start. So he needs to start with this website. I'm about to build it. It's going to happen real quick. Like the analysis is the more in-depth part. But my point is, I'm going to build the website. It's going to look great, and then he's going to see it on this video if he watches, checks his emails and whatever. It doesn't matter if he does or doesn't. other business owners potentially might see this particular video as well, and they might think, hey, that guy knows what he's talking about. He can obviously do it. So now. Price. How much would I charge for something like this? Well, it's worth a lot of money. I used to work for other web companies, and then I had my own web company. I know it's certainly worth a lot of money. But I find it easy. I do. I find it easy. I've known it a long time, and even though it's high value work, and I shouldn't undervalue my work, I don't like other web companies. I think they charge too much. I don't. I just think they've destroyed our country, to be honest with you. So, I've debated this with myself a little bit, but I would put this at $1,000. Let's say $1,000. Now that's cheap is not the word you're supposed to use, but that's cheap as chips, mate. So you're not going to get anything like this for $1,000. And if you're a business owner like James, who's been in the industry 40 years, right, you know this is worth way more than $1,000. Right, this video just the information I'm giving out in this video is worth, from a consultation perspective, if you ran a web company or a marketing business guru, got them to come and talk to you, you know the shit involved with that, mate. And then they want $100,000 off you, bro. Straight up, mate. I know, mate. I've been there, done that. But it always starts off with well, just give us a deposit of $5,000 and then you can pay it, just pay it off over 5 years, mate. That's shit. And then you never get any results from it. Alright? I know where James is at, mate. He's only one. Now, anyone else watching this video, he's the first business I came across today, right? Wasn't he? The first one I looked at. What does that say about the state of all the other businesses in New Zealand? They're all in the same position, mate. Right? So I'm going to do, like I said, one of these a day. Right? A new business each day, different industry. Right? Talking about the same sort of stuff. And then I'm going to email that to that business. And I'm going to do one every day. And you need to be nuts to not want this done for you for under $1,000. I'll do it for $995 plus GST, mate. Done. Get it done. Okay, so alright, so here it's talking about the content strategy, SEO strategy. Create comprehensive service pages, 500 plus words. There you go. So it knows the SEO best practices, which is to have 500 plus words on the page, which is separated out over 3 paragraphs with some images and stuff like that. Develop an FAQ section answering common questions, add customer testimonials and case studies, maintain a blog with helpful solar information. Okay, so that what we're going to do today is we're going to generate some generic content for those sections. But if James came back to me and we actually went ahead with this project, I would have to discuss some options for these, and that's what I was talking about before, the newsletters and the blogs. You can automate those sort of things, but it takes a bit of extra work and stuff. Or if he's active on Facebook, I'll just simply have to plug it into his Facebook. That becomes real easy. But anyway, content plan, homepage. Okay, so now we're talking about the look of the shop. Like, is the website how it's going to look? So it's going to have a hero section with a compelling headline and CTA, which is call to action, as in cool now, So click here, mate. Let's get this solar panel on your home, bro. Brief company introduction highlighting 40 years of experience. So it's recognised the valuable parts in James's existing business website, and it's going to implement them. Service overview with icons and images. So it's basically going to get some images that are relevant to the main services and icons. And all of this is the psychology involved in creating your shop front that I was talking about earlier. Your website is a shop. This is your shop window, okay, the homepage, right? Featured products, testimonials, contact information, obviously. But that's going on the homepage. About us, company history since 1973. Team section with photos and qualifications, certifications and credentials. Why choose Solar Central section. Services page for each service. That's really valuable stuff. Okay, that's what I was talking about before with the underfloor heating and stuff, the keyword stuff. Blog topics. Technical SEO considerations. Ensure mobile responsiveness. In other words, make sure that the website is a phone app. Optimize page load, speed, compress images, minimize. So it's even going to that step of optimizing the pages to make sure there's no extra shit in there, so they load faster. Implement schema markup for local business. Create an XML sitemap even. It's even going to do a sitemap. Set up Google Search Console and Analytics. Shit, it's even going to do that. Local SEO strategy. Complete Google Business Profile Optimization. Wow. Now, you're going to be surprised at something here. I might not run it on this video, but you normally go and do this manually yourself. That's all I'll say about that at this stage, right? And I will do that for James, set up all of this Google stuff properly, because even if he has a Google account, I can guarantee no one's done it properly for him, because it's quite involved. It's almost, there's almost a master's degree involved in setting Google up properly, like properly. Right? Anyway, consistent NAP, name, address, phone across all platforms. So basically standardise that and get it on every page in front of people all the time, which is part of your call to action. Local business citations and directories. So basically any relationships that he currently has, which is similar to what I was talking about with that other website with Tesla, right? Where they have they have the brand management, brand marriage, right? That which increases your brand. So you put your suppliers' logos on there and stuff, right? And you ride the coattails of their brands, right? That's really crucial, actually. Region-specific content. In other words, it's actually going to consider all of the New Zealand cultural lingo and stuff like that. So it might even use the word Kiora or something. Who knows? Next steps: download the SolarTech template, customize the template. So this is the action plan for today. Download the SolarTech template, customize the template with your branding, create the site structure according to our plan, develop SEO optimized content for each page, add your services, projects and team information, set up technical SEO elements, launch the site and submit to Google Search Console. Would you like me to help you get started with implementing this plan? Okay, so I'm going to click yes please here, and it is going to build the website within, like, it'll happen so fast it'll make your head spin. So all of this video has really been about the entire consultation for James and for any other business, and also for any novice web developers or anyone, the point is that building the actual website itself is actually not hard, but all of the research and analysis that you do to understand the business, to put that content into the website, that is actually the motor of the car, alright? It's the petrol in your engine, okay? So, I am going to click yes, and it's going to start doing some stuff. Now, we don't have all that information off James, okay? We only have what's on his website, and I can probably find some other stuff on the internet. He's probably got some Facebook page or something where I can find additional stuff to use on the website. But I probably won't go that far today because I don't even know James, like I keep saying. The point of what the AI is going to do here is it's going to insert generic content, okay? And if James went ahead with this, paid me the $1,000 or $995 plus GST, I will actually get the information from James, the images, the additional information, and replace the generic placeholder text with the information that he gives me. Right? And I would follow through with the Google setups, the social media setups, the blog setups, the newsletter setups, right? So even though AI is going to build the website, that is follow up work. There's also businesses normally go, what's this going to cost me to maintain or manage? Well, this is the beautiful part. I don't charge ridiculous money for nothing, like most web companies. The reality is that to host a .co.nz domain, you see, I not for .com and international domains you can use Cloudflare, but you can't do geo-specific domains URLs like .co.nz is a New Zealand domain. You can't do that on Cloudflare at the moment. I don't think they haven't installed that yet. So I would have to use my hosting company for that, which means it does cost a little bit extra, but still nothing, right? I'll charge about, let's say, $100 a year, right, for the domain and the hosting of the website, right? No catches, no additional charges or anything. So, see, a lot of companies charge probably $1,000 a year for your hosting and domain name. Believe it or not, this is what the situation is. So I have, so $100 a year. So the first year would be included in that 995 plus GST, and then at the end of 12 months, when you, or I should say, every time your domain comes up for renewal, you'll have to pay $100 plus GST, or to say $95 plus GST, all right? And that covers my time of renewing. The cost of the domain name is only about $20, but it covers my time at least once a year, checking on your website, checking on you. So I get an email notification about your domain name renewal coming up, and it reminds me I need to call James, make sure he's getting along all right. You know, the reality is once you've got this website built, most businesses should be advertising on Google. If you're advertising on Google with this current website that you have, it's really not performing for you. You end up paying all this extra money to Google and you get less results. I'm not going to get into explaining why that is today, but to say that Google punishes you if you don't have your page set up properly. Okay, they want let's say you want to advertise underfloor heading. If you don't have a page that says underfloor heading and has images of underfloor heading and mentions underfloor heading and and you advertise, let's just say you advertise your homepage, right? So you go underfloor heading on Google, you advertise under that term, but you send people here, and it only mentions underfloor heading maybe once here somewhere. Probably might not even do underfloor heading, but my point is, oh yeah, he does right. So underfloor heading. But your other websites, like that one I showed you before, they have a whole page for underfloor heading, right? So they get charged less by Google. They get rewarded by Google for having underfloor heading, right? And advertising on that term and sending people to that page, okay? Those are big factors. So that's why I was saying you need to have the pages set up first. So we're going to do that now. We're going to set all the pages up and whatnot. It'll be missing some information. It'll be using generic information, placeholder text and images. But that's very quick to switch out. If James went ahead with the 995 plus GST, I would get the images from him or find more appropriate ones if he doesn't have them. I'd scan his Facebook and stuff and get as much as I could that's relevant to his business specifically, and anything that he doesn't have, I will generate generic stuff that is more relevant to cross your solar stuff, underfloor heading and whatnot, and get that polished up. And then at that point, the website's going to perform better for him on Google and straight away, right? From an organic perspective. But most businesses, whatever money he's currently paying for advertising, he should really be putting that into Google advertising. But there's no point putting it into Google advertising until you got this website fixed, right? So you win when you get your website done properly, because not only do your organic results improve, your conversions improve dramatically because people land on your website and they go, "Wow, he looks professional. He's been around 40 years, but look how professional that website looks. Oh, and he's linked to all these other brands, so it creates all that confidence. So they are more likely to call you. So you win there. So you win by getting more traffic to your website. You win by getting more conversions from your website, and therefore all the other advertising that you do, where you promote your website, which has all the information, your contact information, you win there too because you get rewarded from Google and other platforms for having a well-built website. Because you think about it, Google does not want to send people to shitty websites. Okay, so even when you pay Google to send them to your shitty website, they they punish you. Okay, they're like, don't okay, you've paid us. We'll send people to your shitty website, but it makes us look bad, so we're going to punish you by charging you more for every click. Okay? Right. So, truth is, I'm going to have a coffee and a cigarette. So, but you'll be able to watch this start when I type this in here. Yes, let's start and use placeholder and generic text etc for any content that we might not have yet. Please find. Actually, we're going to take placeholder out of there and we're just going to leave generic in there because generic. Because if I say placeholder, it will put anything in there that's generic, not generic, that's placeholder text, like it won't be related to solar stuff. So we might as well just refine that down to generic text and images find online. That way, at least it will be solar related. Okay, so we're saving ourselves a little bit of work. But anyway, let's start and use generic text and images. Find online A to Z. Okay, and what we're also going to do is we are going to. Oh, I'll just put this in there quickly. Please find James. What was his name? James Palmer. Palmer Limited information. Also, actual company name online to include. That's New Zealand. And now this is important. So it's going to set up all the Google stuff and that. But the reality is, I haven't spoken to James. I don't know if he'll go ahead with this or whatever. So I don't really want to be setting up all the Google stuff at the moment. In saying that, there is back-end stuff that will be built into the website that is related to that for API keys and stuff like that. But so I wanted to build the website. I want to install those features and functions into the website, but I don't want it to go to Google and set all that shit up, right? Because I don't know if James wants to go ahead with it, right? So that would just be it becomes a bit of a mess. Please only set the Google and social media etc up on the website at this stage. Do not go to Google etc. Okay, so while it does that, you can watch it, get to work. The video's nearly finished, by the way. This is the easy part now. Actually building it. So, well, easy I say, but I'm not going to finish it. I'm just going to show you how quickly. Really, what I'm doing is drawing other web companies here who ring James and charge him $20,000 for a website that looks good. Because I'm going to put a website up that looks good. The content and stuff won't be completely finished, and I'm not going to finish that today because, if James calls me or emails me and decides to go ahead with the website, then I'll finish it up. But whether he does or not, I don't care. I mean, I do care because it would be good for him, obviously good for me too. But at the end of the day, there's thousands of businesses in New Zealand that need this help. So you can only put so much time into something. What are you doing, cat? Put, put. Come here, Trumpy. Put, put, put. Awesome. Come here, isn't it? Yeah. Come here. Come here, little bugger. Yeah, right, I've got to wait for the jug to boil, so let's go and have a look at what this website's up to. Look at this, I'm making a coffee while the website's getting built. Imagine that. Beautiful. Look at that. So I've got my cursor a little bit further along than the default settings. If you're watching this and you're interested in copying what I'm doing for businesses, then you want to use cursor. It doesn't take long to get cursor to start basically running itself using the agents like Claude and which is Anthropic, which I'm just like blown away. I'm just blown away by it. So cursor comes at the moment. You can put any API into it. You can use Grok, for instance, but it comes with GPT, the new models from GPT, which is OpenAI, and Gemini 2.5 is in there, Pro, which is the Google AI, and what's the other one? GPT, Gemini, and Claude. So this is Claude at the moment. See where the blinker is, the cursor is blinking. Just under that you see Agent Claude 3.7 Sonnet. That's really good for getting shit done real quick. And they're getting better every day too. Like they're just very good. When the project starts becoming more complex, I can switch it over to down here. See, for more complex stuff like search engine to make this, if you're putting a search engine onto a shop or something, the project complexity starts to sort of get a bit more. So switching it over to Gemini is pretty good. I haven't used GPT, these two down here, much, to be honest with you, only because I haven't had to. It's not that I don't like them or anything. But between Claude and Gemini, you can pull off some pretty amazing stuff, man. So I've currently got my cursor IDE set up to run commands and accept commands by itself. I could turn on the ability to accept these automatically as well, but it'll actually do a lot of work without me even having to, click accept or agree or whatever. Okay, so I've made my coffee. I'm back in front of the screen. See, it's building the website for me, mate. Now what it's done is it's downloaded a template. Okay, so there's a secret in web companies that they don't want you to know. I say this quite a lot because the more people understand it, the better. Websites come as a template, right? They don't build them from the scratch. So the reason that's important to understand is because that these web companies, the reason they get away with ripping you off is because you think they have to build the whole thing from scratch, but they don't. Right? Most of the work is already done in the template. They just simply change the colours, put your logo on it, and put your content in there. Right? And then they copy paste your social media links, boom, done. Kind of that easy. Right? So all the value is everything that we've already done in this video, all the analysis and stuff, right? But the more you do it, like I've done this a lot with different businesses from different industries, like I was saying earlier, the more you start to see the patterns, right? So it's very similar sort of work for every business, doesn't matter what industry they're in or whatever. I still have to go and look at the competitors, see how much work is done on their websites, and then think, oh, I'm going to have to do about that much work on this website to make this website compete with that website, right? How far along are we? We've got a homepage yet? Nearly. See this index.html? That's the homepage. But because it's red, it means that it's still working on it. So it's nearly finished. So here let's have a quick look. So this is the homepage. This is the back end of it. Be able to see the front end in a minute. See all the red ones are the ones. These little red dots are where it's been edited. So look at this. This is fantastic stuff. Like web developers, they know. Looking at this, like AI wrote all of this. It did all the meta, like so the meta content. So this is what would appear on a Google search. Solar Central, James Palmer did. Right. Um, like it's just doing everything very well to a high standard. Right? It really is. So there's all your social media favicons. Like you'll click those little icons and then go through the social media. There's your page titles. I mean, this is great stuff. Right? This is your. Oh, so it's got a link to get a quote for contact us and whatnot about us. It's got a hero section in here somewhere. I'm only quickly scanning through it, but this is great. I'm telling you, man, this is fantastic stuff. I mean, it's gone and found all of the best information for SEO for solar heating and stuff. Right? It's just, and it's writing all of that into the website. And the template will look fantastic. I already know that before I've even seen it. Like, and if it doesn't, you just pick a new template, alright? And you don't have to do all of this again. If you pick a new template, it will, it just changes the CSS files really. So the layout and the colours are different. I mean, this stuff is great, I'm telling you, man. And this is only the homepage, right? So all of this, so I can tell it's a great, um, yeah, so it'll be finished in a minute. That's a $20,000 website, mate. That's what it is. If he was lucky, he might find someone to do it for $5,000, but web companies don't want to talk to people for less than $5,000, mate. Right? I'll do this. He can have this for $995, done, and then $100 a year. And I'd recommend he runs some Google advertising monthly. He has a monthly spend for Google advertising. potentially advertising on X, you know, social media, Facebook, whatever. Probably Facebook in New Zealand, to be honest with you. But and I can't stand Facebook. Don't get me wrong, can't stand it. But from for a client in New Zealand, for people building homes and that, you know, Facebook in New Zealand is that's where your customers are, right? They're on Google and they're on Facebook, unfortunately. So if I advise my client to be advertising on X, I might tell him to advertise on X only because you want him to be noticed by the Musk boys and all that, right? So obviously they appreciate it if you're advertising with them. Um, but I would not be expecting many people on X to be buying solar panels from this guy. Okay? Just wouldn't. Especially now that we found that other company that is already partnered with Musk and Tesla, right? So Musk's boys are more likely probably going to spend their money with that Muppet outfit. And I say Muppet outfit, they're not Muppets, but my point is, um, it, you know, there's the whole loyalty thing, right? So that's an American company in New Zealand, basically putting James out of business. You could look at it like that. You could, you know, you could also look at it like, well, I could call Tesla solar panels on behalf of James, or explain to James, look, you need to get on board with those guys because as much as you might not like Musk, you might not like Tesla, the reality is you're going to have to be on board with them, right? To get kudos from them, right? So there's two ways to look at it, and that's aggressive, passive, right? Aggressive or passive, right? I tend to be quite aggressive. I should probably, you know, I'm getting older and wiser, and I understand I should change that stance, you know. So a passive way to look at it would be to get on board with Musk and Tesla, and just, you know, from a business standpoint, you know. But ideally, because even though I'm an American-born, America First guy, I live in New Zealand, I have respect for New Zealand, and I would prefer to be using New Zealand products for New Zealand businesses. So if there's a New Zealand company manufacturing solar panels, I would be all about that over Tesla panels, right? So what my approach there would be I'm going to use New Zealand panels first, but where they can't supply or where there's gaps in their abilities, and I will turn to Tesla, the American company. That's how I would, and I think that's fair. I think that's extremely fair. That keeps it New Zealand first for New Zealanders, New Zealand companies looking after New Zealand communities, but where they can't deliver on certain services or products, you turn to the American ones next, right? Right, what's going on here? Is it still going? No, it's finished. Alright, it's finished. Is it? Why are they still reading? Are they not read? So let's open the website and have a look. No, it's not finished. Oh, have I not accepted something or something? Something's happening here. Let's ask Claude. The items. I know I'm typing this in like other web developers will be looking at this like, bro, you're so novice, but I'm doing this for a reason. The do items are read and the site, and the pages, i.e. index.html are not loading. You see, if James is on Outlook and all that, right, this is how powerful this stuff is. So this is just the website side of it, but the reality is that in the back end of the website, I can build, if he's comfortable on using Outlook or whatever he's using, I can ask the back end of the website to create an email user interface that looks the same as Outlook, but uses all of the Google stuff, right? So that way James doesn't have to go through the headache of learning a new user interface. He gets to use his Outlook, but actually it's all connected to the Google accounts. That's the power of this, right? Oh, okay, so didn't have npm installed and shit. Right, okay. So James wouldn't have to worry about any of this stuff. This is developer stuff. So I thought I had everything installed on this machine, but apparently not. Okay. If you don't already have server installed, you can install it quickly. See, I've got Claude basically allowed to run terminal commands and shit, and it automatically accepts stuff. So if you're starting to use cursor and you're running into roadblocks where it says you'll need to do this, and you don't know how to do it on your system or whatever, there is actually a way to force Claude to execute these commands. As you can see here, I've managed to get it to do it. So I mean, I'm not saying I'm special by having done that, but if you're just new on cursor and you're noticing that you have to do all this complicated stuff on your system, there is a way to actually get Claude to run terminal commands, which is what that is, right? That's just the system commands. So you can get it to do that stuff. Alright, so the server is now running. Why are they still red? Let's find out what's going on here. So basically what's happening here is I've already got servers and that set up on this machine. So for some reason it seems to want to be using I haven't read it or anything, I don't know what it's done, but should be working on that one. It's not, is it? The site is still not running, and the repository files are read. So what I would normally do as a developer is come in here, find these red spots, scroll down to these red spots, which is where there's errors, right? And manually figure out why the code isn't, why it's red, and turn them to green. Normally that indicates that there are edits that need to be accepted, but I thought I accepted them all. Here we go. So, but what I'm displaying here is that I don't have to manually go in there and find the code and edit it. I can get AI to go back in there and say, look, and figure it out. Right, that's the point of me doing it like this. Okay. Okay, so it's missing some of the stuff, so it's identified the problem. The problem is that you're missing the essential files in both directories. Let's create these files. First, let's create the main.js. So, see, it hadn't finished building the website, basically. Which is weird because it was a template, so you would think that the template had everything in it, but apparently not. It probably did. There's probably a better way to do this. If James was a paying client, or if I was getting paid to do this, I would probably have done it in a more careful manner. But doing it this way, it doesn't. It's no different from doing it a more careful way from the start. I'm simply sort of just getting a ton of work done, grunt work, and then I could go back through it and make sure, like double check it, right? refine it. So, what's it doing now? Still not working, I'll bet. It's obviously still not working. Oh no, there we go. Okay, so there's the website. Right. So it's missing some images and stuff like that, but, and obviously this is the information you need to get from Jones, but this is your website. Services, go to the services, our services, right? You see? That's what you need, James. So if James went ahead and paid the 995, I would just switch all this content out. It would probably take me about a day to do it properly. To go back through each one of these, make sure the information's correct, put the right images in there, talk to James and get the correct images off him, all that stuff, right? But you can see straight away, immediately. Now this video is quite a long video, as mentioned. I did all the market analysis and everything, and that is a great value to James, right? It's not really of any value to me, except that I made a YouTube video out of it, right? And a potential client, right? But the website itself, once I started building it, was only a couple of minutes, wasn't it? So within probably 5, maybe say 10 minutes, within 10 minutes, we had gone from James's old website, this one, right, to this one. And there is no um, there's no doubt that this is a much better website, right? So it's not finished, but the template's installed, the basic, all the metas installed, like a lot of work has been done, hasn't it? Right? See? Right? This is a fantastic website. Okay? So obviously this is all the placeholder stuff I was talking about, the generic stuff, right? But it's even, see I use generic instead of placeholder, so it's even put like keywords into all of this stuff, right? So from a business owner like James's perspective, this is stuff for him to consider, because a lot of guys would be like, oh, just delete that stuff because but I'd be like, well, really what you want to do is reword it, because you don't want to delete it. You want to reword it so that it's not lying or misleading, right? But from a digital perspective, marketing perspective, SEO perspective, you do want to retain that information. You don't want to start deleting stuff, right? Of course, if you have to delete it, you got to delete it, right? But ideally, you want to reword it and put a marketing spin and shit on it, right? Get a quote will be the contact page. That's not working, but that would be pretty easy to do. Contact. See, he's got a proper contact form. He's even put his address in there. I don't know. If that's not the right address, that's easily changed. But see, it's got a proper contact form, right? Ours, right? This is true. This is a $20,000 website, mate. Obviously, see what I mean? You just got to change that stuff. That stuff's easy to change, right? That's where the 995 plus GST comes into it. The time it takes to confer with James, get the information, do a bit more research, and switch all this stuff out, right? Well, there it is. It's got your Facebook links and Instagram links. Those links need to be put in there, but that's easy to do. But the point is, there they are in the. You got a sticky menu. You got the back to top button, right? And that's only one template. Like I said, there's then you got all these pages too. So the pages haven't been created, but that's easy enough to do. That would probably take probably another like to finish this website. Yeah, take me about a day. If I put a day into this, it would be fantastic. It would have tons of images. All the info would be correct, and actually the info would be better. As in, I would expand on the services pages and stuff. Um, yeah, I mean, you just can't beat this, right? It's a $20,000 website, hands down, mate. If you knew someone who didn't want to rip you off, you might get it for 5 grand. I'm interested in pumping these out hard and fast at 995 plus GST. Right. So this is the consultation part of the process. The next part of the process is he pays 995, or any business out there pays me 995, and then I finish the job, right, including getting it up on your domain name, which for you is over here, right. There is a bit of a process to switching that stuff out. 995, to be honest with you, to get all of this complete, this consultation video, and switching out the domains and the emails and stuff, that's pretty cheap, to be honest with you. It really should be about 1500, but I'll just say 995. Actually, for this video, for James, and I need to put a time limit on these too, eh? So let's say this offer is valid for 1 month as of the publishing date of this video. There you go. Alright, so 1 month, 28 days. More than likely, actually, now that I've done this and considered it, it's actually probably worth about $1,495 New Zealand dollars, right? So for any Americans watching this, that's probably about, I don't know, 800 US dollars, which is pretty reasonable, really. Yeah, so it'd probably take me a day of solid work, probably 12 hours. So I call a day 12 hours, right? So 12 hours to get this uh, completed and on his domain, and make sure his emails are transferred correctly and all that sort of stuff, all that good stuff, you know? Alright, people, so I think that's pretty much everything. And if you didn't like those colours and stuff, it's real easy to change the colours. If you didn't like the template, so the template is basically the font styles and stuff like that. If you didn't like that sort of stuff, we just choose another template. Right, but this one looks pretty good to start with. It's a starting play, good starting spot. Yeah. So that's the end of the video, I suppose. Yeah. Good on you, mate. Have a good day. Cheers, bro.